Okay, so I heard you. Okay, so yeah, so we are going to learn how to make a website from scratch. I should probably. Okay, there we go. That's better. Okay. Okay, much better. And we are recording and okay. So um where to start? Where to start? So when you exported uh your type specimen files from CodePen, it gave you two files. One was called index.html and the other was called style.css. Today, we're going to learn how to build those files from scratch, and we are actually going to make a 3-page website all in class. All right. The first thing I need to do is, let me turn on share here, is I want to show you, let me find a web page that I can reveal. Okay, here's the, oh wait, you can't see anything. Okay, all right, hold on. Wait, no, I gotta do screen mirroring. The magic of screen mirroring. 174. Okay. 0958. Okay. Come on now. Okay. There's a very basic page that I put together. Um, and if I right click on this, I can go down and I can view page source. And there we go. Here is all of the HTML that goes along with that page. And hopefully this actually looks kind of familiar to you, right? There's an H3, there's a div, something called a header. It's just another type of HTML element we can use. And we've got an ordered list, an unordered list, and p tags and strong and all that stuff. So that stuff like in the body tag, I think I've said this before, like there is one main tag that all your HTML goes into, more or less, called the body tag. So inside the body tag is everything that you guys should, be pretty familiar with. P tags, LA tags. But there are some other parts to this document that we need to know about. And every HTML document, should I make this font size larger? Yeah, let's make it larger. Every HTML document starts off with these two lines of code. It's just a little bit of code that says to the browser, hey, this is an HTML file in English. Please, display it, appropriately. All right. And then after that, after the HTML tag there are two main parts to any HTML file. We have the head, and then we have the body. Okay. The difference between the two is the head is what we call, it contains metadata. Okay. It contains information about the file. It doesn't contain the stuff that you actually see when you're looking at the web page. That all goes into the body. Anything that is content that is going onto the page goes into the body tag. The metadata, yeah. The head tag has things like, if you'll notice, there's something here called title, and then it's got a title and then close title, like this right here. If I go back to the actual page, you'll notice that up here at the top, it says VFA application, and that's what was in the title tag. So the title tag controls what, what label you're giving your page, and it's going to show up in the tab. And if somebody bookmarks the page, that text is going to show up in their bookmarks. Okay. There's also some link. There's a viewport tag here. You don't really have to worry about that so much. We'll get into the link. The link tag in a second. This is what is connecting our page to that style sheet. So we have two files, remember. There's an HTML file and a CSS file. And we need some way to link them together so that the browser knows, oh, this CSS goes with this HTML page. Okay, we're going to link them together and style it accordingly. And then in the body tag is just basically everything you've been doing, just typing tags into CodePen, into that little window. And then we have a closing body tag and a closing HTML tag. So that's the basic gist of it. Two main sections, the head and the body. Okay, the head and the body. Now, before we go any further, let me make this a little more reasonable. Before we go any further, we need one thing we're going to have to do. If we're going to do this, we're going to actually make a website. So we're going to have to learn to master file paths. Okay. So there's one tag that we haven't gone over in HTML, and that is the A tag. And that is what allows us to make a point where someone can click on something and travel to another location somewhere in the metaverse. So the A stands for anchor, and you could argue that it is like the most important tag in HTML because, I mean, the whole concept of being able to link one site to another site to another page to another page is kind of what built the internet, like this whole idea of, before the internet, if somebody had a scholarly paper, you'd have to go, if you want more information about it, you'd have to go to the bibliography or the reference and then go look up that journal. and then read about it there. When the internet came out, all of a sudden you could just click and you get that resource. Okay, that just wasn't a thing before. Okay. You know, you guys probably take it for granted, but it wasn't a thing before. So it really made the internet as powerful as it is. But what we have to do whenever we're linking two things together, or maybe putting an image into our HTML, we have to give it very specific instructions on what exact file we want to link to and where does that file exist on the web. And that's what we're going to learn. We're going to learn how to do. Okay. So I'm going to stop share for a second and demonstrate. I'm going to turn this off just for the purpose of recording. I'm going to demonstrate how to do that. Okay. Marker work. That's good. All right. Okay. So A tag, the A tag. Okay. It starts like this. It's just the letter A, stands for anchor. But it also has an attribute. You have been working with attributes. An attribute is anything that goes inside of the anything that goes inside of the tag. So anytime you add a class to a tag, you're adding an attribute. The attribute we're going to use here is called href, and then equals, just like you type class equals, and there's something in quotation marks, then cap that off. And then if we're making a text link, href stands for hypertext reference. Okay. And then I'm going to type some, some words in here so that, something actually shows up on the screen and is actually clickable. And then I'm going to close this A tag right here. Okay. So we still have to fill this out, but what we've done is we've turned this text right here. The text is going to show up. This might be inside of a P tag or something like that. This text is going to show up on the screen, and if we don't do any fancy styling, it's going to be blue and underlined or purple and underlined, or whatever the ugly default styles are. So now the question is, what do we put here? Okay. This is the $1 million question. How do we write the file path for that? Okay. One thing I could do is I could just copy and paste a link from the browser of some website, like http:// Google.com. I could paste that in there. This is what we call an absolute link, because it's starting from the very root of Google.com. So we're going to learn different methods. So let's say, for example, let's talk about file structure. It's more important than you think. Like, you may or may not be really good at file structure on your computer, right? You might have just files all over the desktop, or maybe you're really good at putting files into folders and into other folders inside of other folders. And, you know, that's what we need to focus on, is like keeping our files in some sort of structure that we understand. It's not too confusing, and we're not going to lose things, and the browser is going to be able to find the file that it wants. So let's say we have, and what we're going to do today is we're going to make a trivia website. So it'll be like a little trivia quiz that people can fill out. Okay. So the first thing you want to do, before you start any web project, you want to have a designated folder. Just, even if it's just a 1-page website, even, you don't have any photos or anything, I don't care. Always have a designated folder. So we're gonna make a folder called trivia. Okay. Just an empty folder called trivia. And inside of there, we're gonna put some HTML files. And we're gonna put some CSS files. Okay. The first file we are going to create is going to be called index.html. Okay, why are we calling it index.html? You always name your homepage index.html. That is because when somebody goes to this directory, this folder on the internet, the browser by default is going to look inside that folder and try to find something called index.html. If it's not there, nothing's going to show up. So that's our home page. But the site that we're creating has some other pages involved in it. So there's a home page that's going to have some sort of trivia question of your choice. You can, do a Google search, find something interesting, and then it's going to have a question, and then, some answers, possible answers that people can click on. And then when they click on those, it's going to take us to a page that says, yes, you got the answer right, or a page that says, no, you got the answer wrong. So I'm going to name these pages I'm going to name one of them correct.html, and I'm going to name the other one incorrect.html. Okay. All right. Okay. So now back to here. What do we put here if, like, say we've got a link, some text on our home page, on our index page, and we want it to link to correct.html. Well, this is a very simple scenario because both of these files exist in the same folder. They're in the same space. So all we have to say really is just say correct HTML. Okay. So that's the easiest scenario. Everything's in the same folder. You just put the name of the file. If it's an image, you just put, like my cat.jpg, whatever. But let me give you another scenario, because sometimes, and this is very common, you have a lot of files and you need to organize them into folders, or, another common scenario is like you might have a lot of images, so it's very common to create a folder named images and put all your images in that one folder. Most people do that. So let's say I have created a folder for all my HTML files. Some people do this. You might want to do this, you might not. It's up to you how you want to organize your files. I'm going to name this file HTML. And inside of there, I'm going to have correct.html. And I'm going to have incorrect.html. Okay, this changes things now, because if we just say for the link, go to correct.html, the browser is going to, we're inside the trivia folder right now. Okay, the index page is inside the trivia. The browser is going to look inside of the trivia folder for something called correct.html. And it's not going to find it because we put it in a different folder. So computer's not intuitive. It's not like, like if I said to you, go find the drinking fountain. You'd look around the room, no drinking fountain. It's probably outside. You would figure it out eventually. Computer's not going to do that. It needs exact instructions. You got to get the name of the file exactly the way it is, uppercase, lowercase, whatever. Like, you're just going to get errors. So what we do, if we're dealing with folders and stuff, we're going to use slashes to indicate that, this is a folder and then this is a file. So in this case, we will say, okay, you're looking inside the trivia folder. Go find the HTML folder. Go find the HTML folder. So HTML, okay? And now slash, and now you're saying, okay, with the slash, you're saying, okay, look inside of that folder and then give it the name of what it is looking for inside that folder, which is correct.html. Okay, so that's going to work. Yeah, that's going to work. It's going to want to, it's going to find that file because we've given it a very specific file path. So far, so good. It's just about, and this may seem really boring, but like 60–70%, maybe more of the errors you guys are going to have is because you got your file path wrong. Okay, my images aren't showing up, my CSS isn't working, my link isn't working. It's because you didn't do the file path correctly. So it's a really important skill to master. Okay, I'm going to give you another situation here. What if on this correct.html file, we had a link and we wanted it to go back to the index page? Where's my phone beeping? Okay. Can we write, we want to link to the index page. Kind of like a back button or something, I don't know. Can we write just index.html? Is that going to work? Because remember, we're inside of this folder right now. We're not inside the trivia folder. We're inside the HTML folder. It's not gonna work because there is no indexed that HTML file inside this folder. And so, it's just gonna be a broken link. So we're gonna have to do something else. We can't say trivia / index HTML, because it's gonna look for something called trivia inside of here. And there is no trivia folder inside of here. Trivia folder is up here. That's one level above. Okay. So we have to level out of this folder right here. We need to move up a level and then look for that file. And the way we do that is we say dot slash. That means go up one level. Okay, now we've told the browser, you're looking inside of this folder now. You're not looking inside of this folder, you're looking inside of this folder. And now we can give it the name of the file. And that will work. This will connect back to the index page. Okay. In Canvas, I have posted an article outlining all of this. I've posted a link, embedded a video, explaining file paths in HTML, and and I'm gonna post this recording in Canvas too. So hopefully, you'll have plenty of resources to remind you on how to do it. Okay. All right, any questions? Yes.
So is that where you would normally put like a link back in the index page?
You can put a link anywhere on any page.
Oh, so that was just to say if you did put it in like that first one.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
I mean, if the link was here, I'd have to go up a level. If the link is here, no, I just reference the name of the folder and then slash, and then the file name. So, you just have to keep track of where everything is, and you have to be exact about it, very exact. Okay, let's get coding. Okay, so far we've been working in CodePen, which is considered a code editor. We want to step outside of that now and work in a independent, CodePen is kind of like a platform, like a service, like a website. We're going to use an actual standalone code editor. And a code editor is simply what it's just something lets you edit code, right? Like, you're just, I mean, HTML and CSS is it's just text, right? We're just writing text, we're not writing binary zeros and ones and stuff. We're writing text. So we need some sort of software that is going to help us with that. I mean, technically, yeah, you could code a website using Microsoft Word if you wanted to. I don't recommend it. But there are all these pieces of software out there that are code editors, and they're really useful. A lot of them are free. They're not very large downloads. And they're just nice because they line, they like kind of like CodePen does, it like indents things for you, and it uses a monospace typeface, and so everything lines up and does some color coding so you can, see what's an attribute and what's a tag and all that. So the code editor on these computers is called Sublime. And that's what I use. But there are other ones you can use out there. I used to use one called Atoms, but they stopped supporting it. Branches, what?
Brackets.
Brackets, not branches, brackets.
That's still.
I think
usable.
so. I think Adobe produced.
But that one's like getting.
Oh, yeah, any of them, Visual Studio, Notepad, whatever you want to use, they all pretty much do the same thing. It just provides you an environment that is conducive to coding and, all the nice shortcuts that we like and stuff like that. So, so yeah, so if you're not on one of the classroom computers, go and download. I suggest Sublime, but you can use whatever you want. It's not going to really make a big difference. But get some sort of code editor up and running. I have my Sublime open right here. And there's that index page we were just looking at. I will collapse this other one here. What is this? I don't know what that is. I'm gonna close that. Okay, so I'm in Sublime. Oh, no, I didn't want that. Okay, I'm in Sublime. So first thing I want to do is open a new file. So I'm gonna say File, New File. Okay. And before I do anything, I need to save this this document. So I'm going to go File, Save As. Okay. And I'll do this in, do I even have, okay, let's make a GD50 A 2025. Okay. The first thing I want to do is make my project folder. So I'm going to click on new folder and I'm naming it trivia. So just an empty folder named trivia, and this is where we're going to put all of our files. Create. And then since this is going to be my home page, the default page for this folder, I'm going to name it index.html. And then hit save. The reason we need the first step is saving the file, even before you put any code in there, is that these code editors can handle lots of different languages. They can do JavaScript and Python and HTML and CSS, but if you haven't told it what type of file it is, it doesn't know it can't help you out. It can't do any of the color coding or the shortcuts or things like that. So that's why always the first thing you want to do is name your file. Okay, so I have an index. Yes.
Okay, so we make the trivia folder and then we put in.
Yeah.
Underneath it, or we name it then and then.
You're going to, what I did is I said File, Save As, and through that dialog box, I created a new folder, and named the file index.html. That's what I did. So I have a folder somewhere on my computer named trivia, and it has a file called index.html in it, which actually doesn't have anything in it yet, but that's what we're starting with. Okay. So remember how when I showed you the basic structure of, of a web page, and there was some code. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I wanted view page list. Remember this right here? Okay, so there's all this funky code that we got to put in. I mean, I've never in my life actually typed that out, because every time you start an HTML page, it's always the same stuff. So why don't we find a shortcut for that? And there's different ways to do that. If your code editor is, primed for it, there's a shortcut. If I hit exclamation point and then tab, and it didn't work. Okay. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why it's not working now, but that's okay because I have a solution. Okay. What we want is called the shell, the basic structure of our HTML page, all that gobbledygook that comes with it, the head tag, the body tag, the HTML tag, like it's the same for every single web page. So let's just copy and paste it from somewhere. So if you go to a website called htmlshell.com, okay, there's your shell right there. Okay, so it's starting you off with your doc type and your HTML tag. It's giving you your head tag that has the title tag in there, and it's got some other stuff. We'll deal with that. And then it's got a body tag right there for you to start inserting your code. So that's basically all we need to get started. So I can click on this button, or I can just copy and paste it. I'm just going to click on the copy button over here and then go back to Sublime and paste it in. Okay, this is a legitimate website. There's nothing on it except for the word hello. Let's change that. I'm going to edit that. I'm going to say trivia quiz. Okay. And now I'm going to save it, Command S. And now I'm going to go to my Finder, find that folder, put it in here. Here's my trivia folder. Here's my index. This is the same file that we're looking at right here. This is it. And if I double click on it, it's going to open it up. It's blank because we haven't put anything in the body tag. But if you notice, it says quiz. So I know it's working. I know I'm looking at the page that I want to be coding. So, baby steps, change one thing, save it, refresh, save, refresh, save, refresh, save, refresh. That's kind of the pattern you're going to get into as you're editing these things. So let me show you an example of what we're doing. So I got this assignment in Canvas. And I have a link right here to an example of what we're doing. So we're gonna do something like this. Okay. How many of you think this is true? Is this true? No? Too smart for that? Let's see. True. Incorrect. No. But 65% of the population think this is true. Yeah, it's kind of it's a popular myth that we only use 10% of our brains. It's not true. During the course of the day, we're going to use all of our brains, but maybe at one given moment, we're only using 10%. I don't know. Nobody really knows why that became popular. But so I have a page for the incorrect and a page for the correct. Now, you might notice up here. Okay. We've got some slashes in there. That's telling us that there's some folders involved in here. And the main project folder is called Trivia Styled 01. I don't know why I named it that, but I did. And then if I click on one of the buttons, it goes to same file folder, and then a slash, and then the name of a different HTML page is popping up. That is a file path. That is what we're learning to do, is to write correct file paths. Okay, well, let's start coding. I'm gonna go back here and I'm just gonna use the same content that I did before. And I'm gonna go to Sublime, and this is my index page. Open up that body tag, and let's add my H1 and then paste. And now I'm gonna save that. Go back to my browser where I've opened this one that I opened just now. I'm gonna reload, and my changes have been made, and I can see my text. Okay, so far so good. Yeah, got that? Okay. So let's fill out the rest of this page. So we've got basically an H1 and then 2 links that are styled to look like buttons. So let's add those links to the file. Okay. Remember, they're called A tags. I'm going to hit A and then tab. Now, damn it, I hate that. Okay, you're gonna have to type it out. A space href equals, and then quotations, and then I'll fill out the attribute in just a second, but this is going to be the link for our incorrect option. So I'm going to hit save. I haven't told it where to link yet, but it'll still show up on the page. It just won't link anywhere. I'm going to save that. I'm going to go back here. Going to hit reload, and there we go. I haven't added any styles, so it just looks like your basic default link, but that's a start. So now let's just make one for the other answer, the correct answer. So I'll just go to another line, say href equals something. We haven't actually made those pages yet, so that's why I'm not typing anything in there. And then it says false. I always do that. And then I'm going to save that. Go back here, reload. All right. We have a working web page. So far, so good. Okay. All right. Now we need to create those other 2 pages. Well, let's pause for a moment. Why don't you go online, go to Google, find a trivia question that you want, and you don't have to use the one I'm using. You can find your own trivia question and plug that into your index page, okay? Okay. I'll be right back. Okay. All right, so let's go through. Let's continue and keep building this. Okay, so now I'm gonna make those other two pages. So for this one, the incorrect page, gonna want to do the same thing. So first thing I do is file, new file, and then first thing we do is save as, and this one I am going to name incorrect .html. I'm putting it in the same folder as the index page. Okay. And then now I need that shell. So I can go back to htmlshell.com, copy that shell and paste it in. And I'm going to change the title to, nope. Okay, hit save. And now I'm gonna put something on that page so we know we're there. So incorrect. So I'll make like an H2, put the word incorrect. Maybe use this line of text here. H3 da da da. And then I had a couple paragraphs, right? Copy. Grab this one, copy. All right. Okay, so I got some text on there, so I'll know if I hit the right page. I'm gonna save that. And first I want to make sure that page is working. So over here, right now it says trivia index.html. If I change that to incorrect.html, I should see, yes, I see my new page. I'm gonna go back. Okay. So now that I have that page, it exists. It's in the same folder. Now I can go to my index page and make that link work. So because they're in the same folder, I don't have to reference another folder name and put a slash in there or do ... slash or anything like that. All I have to do is type the name of the file, the file I want to link to. So it's just href equals incorrect.html. And save that. Go back here. I've got to refresh it because I made some edits. Now if I click on true, boom. I've got a 2-page website, just like that. I mean, it's not much to look at, but we're going to change that. We're going to style this. It's going to look good. Okay. All right. So we needed to repeat what we just did for the other option, the other answer. So I'm going to say file, new file, file, save as, and this one's going to be called correct.html. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go get that shell and paste it in. change the title to okay. Then I'm gonna, put some content in there so we actually see something. So let's go back here. The word correct, that'll do. So that was an H2. Okay. And then do an H3. And then I just had the same text as before, so I'm just gonna paste it from my other page because I already formatted it. So there we go. Save that. So I have corrected HTML, incorrect HTML, and index.html. So now I can go in and hook up that second link to my new correct page. Okay, save. Okay, so here's the moment of truth. Oh wait, that's not it. This right here. Yeah, okay. Reload. True. Looks good. False. Looking good. Looking good. We have a 3-page website now. Okay. So what I want you to do now is see how on the example I'm giving, there is one more element that I haven't added yet, a back button. I want you to go ahead and add a back button to your two interior pages, your correct and your incorrect pages. So you'll have to figure out like how do you link this to go back to your homepage. I'll let you figure that out. Good. Yeah, and then we'll start styling this. Yeah. It's like punch it so fast like it's an air bubble. I thought I heard that, like something happens to the water molecule and like an air bubble appears. Yeah. Well, that is your internet. So go to your index. I don't think you. Okay, so false is we didn't save it. No, Yes. Okay, so here's what's going on here. If you look at the file in the browser, it's actually gonna spell out the meaning. This is where you put right here. Basically, this is more correct. Okay, so incorrect, that HTML is what we want to put inside of these quotation marks here. So that the intro, or advertising section. You put that there. That yeah, you were typing out the name of the file as the text for the page, and actually the whole page would be in the word. We save those. Okay, also, this needs to be called index. HTML. So, I'm kind of right here, but, you have it. You're putting. This is the question. Yeah, and then like all of them about. So, and if you continued it another day, going to the print shop. First, you just have to, you know, code it, so, but we are looking at the right page. It just doesn't have the right page. We just have to- Okay, so let's talk about styling this. Okay, we want it, you know, we don't want those default styles. We're not gonna put up with that. Okay, so what we're gonna do, create a style sheet. So I'm still in this same space here. I've got my tabs with all of my different pages. Now I'm gonna create one more file. So once again, file, new file, and then file, save as. And you can name this whatever you want as long as it ends in CSS. Some people just say style sheet.css. Some people say style, some people say styles, some people say my style sheet. You know, you can name it whatever you want. It just has to end in CSS. I recommend choosing like right now, make an executive decision. Are you going to name your style sheets style or style sheet or whatever, and be consistent with it over time so you don't make mistakes? I always name mine styles. I don't know why, but I do. Okay, so styles, and I'm putting it in the same folder, okay? Gotta pay attention to that. Putting it in the same folder. Okay. Now, the nice thing about CSS is that, like with HTML, it had all that extra like stuff at the top and the head tag and the, you know, gobbledygook, you know, CSS files, you just type CSS. There's nothing else you have to do. It's exactly the same as when you were in CodePen. So I'm going to type H1. And then I'm going to say font family sans serif, and I'll make it purple. Why not? Color purple. Okay. I'm going to save that. Now I'm going to go back. Here's my page again. I'm going to reload. It didn't work. It didn't work. And that is because, and I mentioned this before, I have not linked my style sheet to my HTML page. I have not told the browser, hey, this HTML page, use these styles for it, okay? And so we're gonna have to do that. So I'm gonna go to my index page, and the magic tag for that is actually called link. Okay, and it came with the shell that we copy and pasted, which is nice, so we don't have to type it in. And there's a few attributes in here. Okay, don't really have to worry about the first one. It's the href that we want to pay attention to. This is where we put the file path to our style sheet. Okay, so I'm going to need to edit this text right here. Okay, and since it's in the same folder, all I have to do is type the name of the file, exactly the way I named it. So I'm just going to shorten this to styles.css. If it were in like if I had style sheets organized into a folder called CSS, sometimes people do that, I would say CSS /, but that's not the case here. I don't have any other folders. So I'm just going to say styles.css, and I'm going to save that. And now I'm going to go back here, reload. Yay, I have a purple sans serif, purple sans serif headline. Okay. Now I'm gonna have to repeat that with my other pages, okay? But the nice thing about CSS is that I don't have to make a CSS file for every single page. I can link them all to the same exact CSS file. It's really, really handy. So I can make changes across the entirety of my website. So I'll just, grab this line of code right here, copy it, and then just paste it into my other two pages. Okay. And now, since the other two pages both had H2s, how about I make a style for H2? H2 font family, sans serif, color orange. Okay, let's save that. And come over here, reload. Now, look at both of these pages that I created are getting styled the same way because they both have, H2s. So everything is connected to the same style sheet. Okay. If you haven't figured it out yet, when I remember I asked you to create a back button, you can simply do that by making a tag, put the word back in between the opening and closing tags, and then linking it to where the index page, HTML. Okay, so that is there. So now if I go to here, reload. No, it's not that one. It's this one. So now this one has a back button that goes back to the index page. All right. So what I want you to do now that we've built this site, like it's usable, it's functional. Now I want you to give it some flair, style the A, so that, they don't just look like links, but they look like buttons. So, give it a background color, maybe, give it some padding, whatever you want to do. If you want to get rid of that underline, which I kind of recommend, it's kind of ugly. I'm just going to make a style for my links. And the property for that is called text decoration. And then you give it a none. Save. And that's going to apply to all of my links throughout my site. So even the back buttons are going to get that styling. See, there's no underline there. And go back. Okay. So yeah. And then, one thing I like to do is I always like to put things inside of containers. So you notice how this has a nice border around it. The lines aren't spreading all the way across the page because I gave it a max width or something. So you might want to go into your pages and make a div, give it a class. So div class equals container, And then go down here. Okay, so now I've put all my content inside of a container, and now I can give that container a border and margin and padding and width, and I can start to, create a layout. I'm gonna say save, and then I'll go back here and I'll say dot container. I'll say order, for order, 1 pixel solid gray. And then I'll give it a max width of, I don't know, 500 pixels. Save. And I'm gonna have to go back to here. Reload. There we go. Maybe that's a little small. I might go a little larger. Add some padding and stuff. So padding 2M. Max width maybe 700. Save. Reload. Okay. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Want to style those A tags. So I'm going to say padding 1 background orange, color white, fonts. I'm gonna get a little bit larger. I would say like 1.5 M. And then font family sans serif. And let's see if this gives us some nice buttons. Okay, reload. Yep, there, I got some buttons. Got some buttons working. The person, yeah. Yeah, no, nothing to, oh, you want it online? Okay, you need to find it here and then just open it. Yeah. So give me a second. So your name in, it's SARBA. There you are. Okay. Um. okay, I'm gonna stop. Stop recording.